So I've just started the recording now, so I'll put that up on YouTube later on. So if your husband wants to have a look, then it's all there waiting for him.
Okay.
So thanks for coming along, Leah. Obviously, my name's Nick, and so tonight I've got a bit of a loose structure that we normally stick to, at least at the beginning, to go over the basics, and then from there we can delve into whichever part that you need to focus on to get the most out of tonight.
No worries.
And since you're the only one on, you can leave your mic on, so we won't be having lots of cross chatter there. It'll just be you and I.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a bit of a snapshot, assuming you can see my screen at the moment.
Yep.
So over on the left here is where in Victoria the registrations start, obviously in Sports TG. I'm not sure how familiar you are with that, apart from maybe being a parent and registering your kids.
Yeah, I'm the registrar, so
great.
I'm familiar with that.
All right, so you've spent a bit of time in there, you're comfortable with what's happening?
Yep.
Have you seen the process to get the members who are active and financial across to ResultsHQ? You're across that process?
Yep.
Cool. Any questions around that step on how to do that?
I think I've got that under control.
Okay, cool.
YouTube.
And so then the other two parts, are you guys using RaceHQ or CompetitionHQ with anything you're doing?
RaceHQ is the front line, isn't it?
It's the what, sorry?
Is that the timing gates?
That's it?
Yep.
So,
and yes, I've had a bit of a play with it because I have to print the bibs.
Okay.
On the patch there.
How's that going for you? Is that working on your printer?
Still waiting for them to arrive.
Have you had a chance just to put a little, cut out a bit of paper that's around that size and put it in just to make sure your printer's happy?
Yeah, we had a couple of leftovers from last year, so I did have a practice.
Okay, cool. And that's all fine?
Get the name and the
yep.
I can get the name and the barcode on it.
Great.
But it's the little number that goes with the athlete is printing on a second piece of paper.
Okay, you've got some margins you can adjust on that screen where it says left and top.
Right, no, but I'll find them. Just write that down.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick look at that. So while we're on it, so that's RaceHQ that you're doing the bib printing in. So I'll just fire that up quickly now so we can go through that together. And are you familiar with CompetitionHQ at all?
No.
Okay, so that's how's your internet at Wangaratta? Have you got pretty good internet down at the club? You have
we don't have any.
Okay, so you're just using paper
for field event.
Yeah.
And then take it home and enter it all into the computer.
Yeah. So if you wanted to, you could use CompetitionHQ down at the oval.
Mm-hmm.
Key it in, and then when you get home, press upload or use your phone as a hotspot.
Yep.
And do it that way. That's what CompetitionHQ is about, trying to get your data in without needing internet, and then later on push it all up.
Okay. Because we bought a couple of tablets last year. I think that was the plan.
Okay, cool.
We might look at that.
Okay, so with your bibs, that's where I'm on to now. See, we've got a left and we've got a top.
Yep.
So go and change those around. So maybe make the top -20 or -30, something like that, and see if it brings it up onto that top page for you instead of going on to the second page.
Okay.
And so just have a play around with the left and the top there, putting a plus or a minus number. I think you can put up to 90 or 99, I think, double digits is as far as you can go.
Mm-hmm.
So see how that works out for you.
Okay, thank you.
The catch is every print is a bit different, so it's hard to kind of, that's why I put those in there so people can just tweak it for their printer.
Yep.
Okay, so that's RaceHQ, and then CompetitionHQ is obviously what we briefly discussed, where you can key in your data without needing internet.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do have internet, go and upload it. So that RaceHQ is only available on Windows. CompetitionHQ, however, is available on Windows, on Android, and iOS or Apple.
Okay.
So depending on how you may want to capture that, whether they're using a tablet, then normally that would be bypass paper altogether and you're just keying it in at shot put or whatever it is.
Okay.
But for change management side of things, that may be too much of a change and risk for the club, so they prefer to stay with paper.
Okay.
In which case you could still use those tablets or a laptop and go and key in the data into that device and then upload it later on.
Rightio. Okay.
So that's just some extra bits there. And obviously the final goal is the moment anything's uploaded from Race or Competition HQ up to Results HQ, the families can then see that. And then that's what we're all about, obviously trying to get the kids interacting with what they're doing with their PBs and certificates and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any questions about that high-level snapshot there?
No.
Pretty straightforward.
I think I'm good with that. Yep.
Okay, so that's my kind of normal process to kick it off, and then we kind of jump into any main areas that you're interested in or have questions or issues with.
Okay.
So where would be a good place to start? How familiar are you with the process for the week? So,
all I've done so far is enter the program.
Okay, so let's we'll jump into Hamilton, wasn't it?
Wangaratta.
Wangaratta. Way off. Okay, Wangaratta. Here we go. Okay, so in Wangaratta, so you've got your members in there. Great. So you're able to bring those in, obviously, from the members IMG import. That's good. You've also done a fantastic job by looks of that of setting up all the weeks of the year. Great. The next steps would be your recording sheets or recording forms. Are you across where or how to do that?
In reports, yes. And then choose your events. And
so if we're coming here to
when I tried
event and recording forms.
So I had a look at these yesterday, I think, and no names were coming up.
Okay, so let's have a look here. So we'll go down to your first meet, and we've got all that there. I'll just go preview. So this should load up then with all your athletes and the age, genders and so on the bit of paper.
Mm-hmm.
So here we've got 6 male long jump.
Oh, there we go. Yep.
The record is 3:25. That was by Joel last the 15-16 season.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2 athletes, Urban and Hugh. There's no PB data at this point in time, and so on. So at the start of the season, obviously, you may need to add some blank rows because there's lots of newbies joining up and you need to have extra room to put them on. So I've just gone and pressed 6 for add blank rows. Would you normally have one A4 per age gender, or would you have one A4 that has each age gender event on their own bit of A4?
Yeah, they're all individual.
All individual ones?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So if we leave that as regular, then that's what we'll get, and that's what this screen here is. So if I go print, it's now going to split those out into their own age, gender, event page.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 1, there's 2, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if we change that to condensed, we get a different outcome. Let me just close that. Then it looks more like this when it loads up. We'll have the same athletes down the left, but then we'll have all the events for that age group across the top.
Oh, okay.
So we'll save you having 3 bits of paper. You've now just got 1 bit of paper.
Yep.
So that may be something to keep in mind.
Some centres have an age group manager all the time, so that would work for them, but probably not.
Okay. And then do you have age marshals or do you have event marshals?
Event.
Okay, so we'd change this, instead of being by age group, be by event name. So
Yep.
print off all the discus as one batch and all the shot put as another batch and so on. So keep an eye on that one too when you're doing it. And then as far as your ordering of members, do you need it by name or PB or number or anything particular?
We normally go alphabetical.
Okay. And is that first name or last name?
Surname.
Okay. So if we hit that again. And once you're actually in the screen, you can do some more sorts. So there's more options to do sort by this, then by this.
Okay.
So it just depends on how particular you are about that sort of stuff. So here we go, we're done by surname. So that's then by surname now, A to Z down the screen.
Yep. Okay.
Cool. Any questions about recording sheets?
So I thought there was 90 pages there. Has that included races as well?
Yes, unless we want to filter those out. So we don't have to. We can just do jump and throws. And now it's shortened this list to just be those sorts of events.
Okay. Sorry, just taking notes.
No, that's good. And do you combine any age groups so that your older kids generally go around and do everything together because there's less of them?
Yeah. So under 13s to under 16s.
Cool. So you've already got these groupings here, which you may already be aware of. But if you choose one of those and choose grouping, then it'll only print them and it'll combine the age group together on the one bit of paper.
And they're still, are they in alphabetical order or are they in age order?
Yeah. It's up to you. So it can keep them separate. Otherwise, just let it all mash together.
Okay.
So once you've finished with the recording sheets, the next step would naturally be to obviously put them in the folder, and then people write with really nice, neat handwriting on them. And they come back to you, and then you have to easily read what they've written and then go and key that in. Yep. So that's the part where you could do this at home. Have you done that process at all before?
No.
Okay, so on the home page here, all those dates that you've gone and put the age genders in are obviously now on your home page as well as in your calendar view. So first week being the 13th, we've got our bit of paper here for the 13th, so click on this date. This then loads up all the age gender events that you've gone and put in.
Yep.
But maybe I've just got a pile of under 6 male sheets that have come in, so I can filter it if I want. So I can go 6 male, and they're the only events that we have to look at right now. Or it could be not to do with age and gender, it's all to do with all the shot puts come in. And now here's all my shot put. Now here's a little tip for you. If you hold the control key on the keyboard, and then you go and click on this blue shot put, there's a new tab that's just opened up along the top. And there's another one. So we can just go and open up all the shot puts basically. So I haven't, because the challenge with websites, obviously things have to load and then build a page before you can actually do anything with it. So it can take more time than what people would like. So here's the trick to go and open up all the shot puts. Everything's had plenty of time now to load and open and do its thing without then having to go back to where we were to then choose the next one, then go forward into the next age gender event and back and forward. So now that I'm in here, the next step is, because we can see there's no results and there's no places and there's no PBs or anything in there at this point. So I'll just go and hit the blue enter edit, which is also at the bottom. So I hit that blue one and it opens up the fields. I've got the same option here. So my bit of paper was sorted by surname. So I can click on this and it will sort them by surname as well. So my paper matches my screen. Tap in some results. So the record up the top here is 603. So I'll just make up some here. So I'll just put in 3.56. As I press tab, you'll notice that now has an OK instead of DNS for did not start.
Mm-hmm.
If this athlete here, excuse me, was had 3 attempts but they didn't quite take off correct, or throws, they stepped over the line 3 times or whatever it was, I could put in here a no throw.
Okay.
The default though is the moment I key in a result and I press tab is to change it to OK.
Okay.
If they're not there at all, just skip past them and go to the next one. If I need to, I could put in participate. Let's say they were injured, but they were there for the day and they're cheering their buddies along, then you may have points for that. So I could give them participate versus a no throw.
Yep.
They won't get places, obviously, and they won't get a PB, but they will get participation points if you've got that turned on and set up. Then when we press save, it goes and places them. So we can do this and then I can clean it up, and I'll show you how to clean it up after. So at the moment, I'll click on this column heading called position, and then they've got first and second place, results of those two. No PBs for these guys because it must be first event is not a PB is the setting that's turned on. We do have a season best, however, that has to be bettered in the future dates to get a PB. We've got 2 OKs, a participate and a no throw. But to save anyone having to have this as their first result, I'm just going to go and zero them out. So I'm going to go in edit again, and just do 0, do 0, and you'll notice it's already flicked it back to DNS.
Yep.
I'm going to change this no throw back to DNS and the participate back to DNS. I'll press save again. But you'll notice the season best is still there.
Okay.
So quick little tip, if you ever miskey things and it's created a false legacy of a season best, then we just go to event and calculate. And in calculate, we've got recalculate season best. Boom, that's done. I'm going back to my original tab where I've got that. I'm going to refresh now. I'm going to refresh my screen on a little curly arrow. And they're zeroed out.
Okay.
So that's your general process. And then obviously we just repeat that. We've got all these other tabs up here for the other shot puts. That we've opened up before. And once we're finished with them, we can just close those tabs down because we're finished with them. They're all done.
Yep.
A bit of a little catch for rookies. This home page here will, by default, it only shows events that have 0 of something. So if I do with all events, all of these so far, because we haven't entered any results, is all 0 of whatever the age group capacity is. The moment we key a result and we press save, it disappears from this default view. So at the end of the night or the end of the morning and we've keyed everything in theory this screen will be empty.
Yep.
But there's 2 tabs here, one called with events and one called without. The with events in theory will be full and it will have 5 of 6, 4 of 4, 9 of 15, whatever it is, and we'll see them all down the screen, versus the default would be empty because everything has a result at that point in time. So it gives you a quick snapshot which events haven't had any results keyed in, so maybe you're missing some paperwork or someone's got to bring that over later on, whatever it is. And then the 0 of 6 in this particular age group. If I see 1 of 6, I'll be like, hang on, surely there's more than only 1 of the 6 there today. I saw Tom and I saw John. There's at least 3 of them that I'm aware of, so then it gives you a little heads up to go and investigate why that one hasn't been completed.
Yep.
That sort of thing.
Okay. So it won't disappear until there's
at least one of.
Okay.
So if it's one of 20, then it goes into with results.
Right. I'm with you now.
Yeah. And potential records. This is a cool little button. So every time you key a result, that's a potential record, or you upload a result that's a potential record, will go into this little holding pen. And in here it'll say whatever the current athlete age, gender, event is, but then I'll also say, but here's the current record that this new potential record is trying to better. And then there'll be a button out to the side here called make record, and if you press that, it doesn't delete the old record, it just makes it historical. And the one that was a potential record becomes a new current record.
Okay.
And so if you accidentally do that, you can go...
It'll pick it up also.
Yeah, but if you've pressed it accidentally, instead of you're trying to get the one below, but you click the one above, that sort of thing, you can still go and clean it up or fix it up. So we go to reports, center record list. In here is where you'll have all your records, but it'll also show the one that you accidentally made historical, and the one that you also made accidentally current. So let's say it was this scenario here, this 60-meter hurdle that Hannah did is the one that we accidentally made the new current record, but it shouldn't be, so we could just hit delete and it would delete her.
Okay.
Then we'd find the one that's historical. I go, oh, it's this one here, and I'd go edit. And when you press edit, you've got this option here. So it would be saying historical, but we'll just come in here and go, oh no, you should be current, and then reinstate it back in as a current record. So that's pretty well your weekly cycle. So you've already done a fair chunk of it, as in you're bringing your members in, which is great. You're setting up your calendar, which is normally the hardest or the biggest learning curve for people, but you already covered that off, so that's awesome. We've gone over recording forms, and then we've gone over how to enter data and how to kind of manage any potential records or doing any cleanups if you've miskeyed some results. And that would be your normal week-on-week cycle, apart from maybe doing some calculations of points.
Right.
So, just a snapshot of what this screen looks like. Once you start getting results, this light blue will have a dark blue bar appearing on it. So that dark blue bar is going to snake its way up the screen, which is what your attendance has been week on week. So you'll be able to see how much, as a bar graph, your full potential was achieved.
Yep.
Number of PBs each week. So this number here, instead of being 0, will be 5, 20, 100, whatever it is. Same for records, if there's any records that were broken. And then your points. So at a snapshot, if you go, hang on, there's no PBs on a given week, that's a bit weird. There's always at least 5 or 50. Then you could go and investigate there. Same goes for your points. You go, hang on, there's no points calculated for that week. I've been calculating each week what's going on. So on points, we go to event and calculate. You've already gone and ticked on all these boxes, which is great. So each week you could hit one of these 2 buttons.
I don't know if they're right.
What's that, sorry?
I don't know if they're right.
Well, let's go have a look. Let's go see. So if I come up here to setup and points, I'm going to open a new tab. So you've got turned on at the moment place, PB, attendance, and CR break, and they're pretty standard points. So you've done a pretty good job at guessing. Let's see if there's any attendance points set up. There are. So if you turn up, you don't get a point, but you do get a point for every event you do. So if I do 5 events, well, then I get 5 points.
Yep.
Versus if you had a 1 in there, I'd get 6 points in total, 1 for turning up and 5 per event. So that's good. Your first one here of having attendance is good. place or PB. Let's go see what's set up there. So place points. Yep, you're on the money there again. So first place gets 5 points. Bang, 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 until we get to 6. Then everyone after that gets 0. So that's cool. That makes sense. What else have you got set up? PB. So if we come in here to PB points. All right, so no points for equaling a PB, but 2 points if I better one. So that's good. And as we discussed just before, there's no PB actual stars or valid PBs until you better your first result. So that's what's happening there. And the last one I think you had was CR break. Okay, so if I equal a centre record, I get 2, and if I better it, I get 3. So that's great. All those tick boxes you've got are relevant and set up, which is the important part. So to run your points, it can take a little while depending on the size of the centre. There's 2 action buttons here. Calc all will basically ignore any, yes, I've ran a calculation flag and just go and do everything afresh. Versus inc calc is incremental calculate, which takes notice of any, yes, I've already calculated this age, gender, event, and don't recalculate it, so it's quicker. Unless you're doing both for the first time, well then obviously they'll take the same amount of time. But if you just want to do a little catch-up calculate, then you could just click on that. But the only catch with that is, if I've gone and edited a result, it's not updating that calculate flag to say that, oh, something's changed, turn that flag off. So that's where you'd have to do a calculate all again if you've edited data. But obviously at the end of the season, it's not desirable to sit here and go and click each one of these once it's finished and move on to the next one. So at any point in time, you can ask it to do what we did before, which is just reset the season best, or go and recalculate the PBs, and that will go from the first week through to the last week. As well as in this one here being the points calculates, it will go through the first week, calculate all the points, so not an incremental calc, but a calc all for this week, and then bounce onto the next one and onto the next one and so on.
Okay.
So that's what you'd normally do when you want to start getting some firm figures for your end of season champs and that sort of thing. Is that, am I going to?
Just while.
Yep.
So we're not having PBs on the first night. Should I have not ticked?
No, that's fine.
PBs.
That's fine. Because it won't actually give them a PB. They just won't get any points.
Okay.
So that's fine. And then once you've got all your points calculated, instead of having my name 5 times, because I did 5 events that night and different points across these 4 columns for each of my events, you just want to see my name and what's my total is normally how you kind of work that end of season points tally. Who's the champion?
Yeah.
That's where this little leaderboard with the stars on it comes into play. Are you familiar with Excel at all?
Oh, a little bit.
A little bit. There's a thing in Excel called a pivot table. I'm not sure if you've ever played with one of those. No, basically, it just tries to sum everything up. So instead of having lots of my names on the screen with all the different rows of data, it just puts my name once there and kind of rounds or sums it all up, adds it all up for me.
Okay.
So that's what this screen does. But because there's around 350 or 400 centres around Australia, everyone's got their own way of doing points. So it's got lots of variables or options that will hopefully match what you guys need. So do you know much about how your champions are determined or calculated at your centre?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the general logic? Do you have different trophies for different points requirements?
So for age group, we'll do junior, intermediate and senior. And I assume it's just overall points.
So all those 4 criteria that we looked at, the PB, the
Yes.
place, and so on. Yep.
Yep. And we have a separate PB award
Okay.
over the age group as well.
Okay, so the overall age champ, we wouldn't need to filter anything. We could just basically skip all these, come down to the bottom and press view, and then it would tally up everyone and place them best to worst based on points.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any sort of criteria to cut off? You need to attend at least 60% or anything like that?
For any award.
Sorry, what was that?
50%.
50%. Okay, so we'd set that. And then redo that just to make sure we haven't given someone points that were a shot at the title that wasn't eligible. However, for your PB trophy or your PB award, I would filter just on PB. So even though I've got all 4 columns ticked on and all 4 points for each of those columns sitting in the background,
yep.
By just hitting PB and making it blue, it will only, and I hit that view button again, it will give me just the points relevant to PBs.
Mm-hmm.
No one else, nothing else.
Okay. Can you limit that to your age group?
Yeah. Well, it will be.
Well? So if we have under 7 and under 8.
Yep.
As one group.
Oh, okay. So in that case, I wouldn't do an age gender breakout. I'll just do club points. But then I'll do, what was it, 7 and 8s? Is that the age group that you mentioned, sorry?
6, 7 and 8
6,
for the
7,
juniors.
8. Okay, so if we did that and we had club points instead of, if I do age, anything with age and gender will then split them out best to worst per age gender. But it sounds like for your junior, we don't care what age gender you are. We just want to care that you're under 6 to under 8. And may the best person win. So that's what this combination of options would give us.
Right.
So it doesn't care about the age gender. It goes, who's got the most points? I think we chose PB. Yeah, the most PB points for anyone who's an under 6 to under 7. It will, and then it will display them down the bottom here. And if I wanted to only see the top 3, then I could do that, and it would only show me the top 3 that meet that criteria. And then all this stuff is exportable. So you could export it out to CSV or Excel and do whatever else you need to do with it.
Okay.
Now, that's probably the week on week on week. That's all you got to really focus on.
So with our electronic timing gates, so once that laptop is brought home and connected to the internet, all of those times will go to the results?
That's right.
Automatically?
Not automatically. Okay. So we'll fire that up now. We'll have a look. So it will automatically upload race by race if there was internet there and I had the option turned on, but that's not your scenario. So you'll get the laptop home. It's been running on sprint races and maybe another one's been running pack. All the results for either of those 2 events or any events in here basically will be available via your saved events.
Okay.
When I go into saved events, I've got all my dates available to me. But it'll open by default on today's date because that's today. If there was some results in there, then it would be able to show you. So in here, I've only got 1 race. And that was this one here, just some sort of test race I was doing at some point in time.
Yep.
The default for this screen is to show the missing entries. So if there's any athletes that weren't known or were just empty lanes because they were visitors or something like that, that's what you'd see on this screen, which allows you to easily edit them and then update it back into whichever race they were part of. But to get your data up there, we'll just come in here and providing the laptop's connected to the internet. just by hitting upload all, it would then go and try and upload everything. And here's this data that's just gone up. If it couldn't upload it, then it would have a red cross against them versus green ticks are obviously good.
Yep.
So that's what's happening in that scenario.
And it'll still do it with that cross there?
No, red cross means it wasn't able to upload it.
Okay.
So all you need to do is fire up the laptop again, go to saved events. This is the screen that will open up in. Come across here to upload all and hit that, and then it will show you lots of ticks and hopefully lots of ticks and no crosses. Crosses will be for any of these kind of empty ones, or just athletes where the name or the number wasn't recognized, it didn't have a positive match.
Yep.
Then close the laptop down and then do the other laptop if you've got two running, and then job's done.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Don't think so.
Okay. Well,
it's all very clever, isn't it?
Well, you may be aware that there's this support button down the bottom here. You may have already used that a couple of times. If you want to find a help topic because you've heard about something or you've got a question to do with something, then just write it in here. So recording forms, it will then bring up the top 3 matches.
Yep. And
if I want, I could view more. Otherwise, you could just leave us a message, which is basically like an email to us. And then we start, it's an open ticket until we close it out with you once you're happy with whatever it is that you're asking about.
Yep. Okay.
Otherwise, this green question mark on each page opens the help page particular to the page that you're on. So if you get to a page and you're like, what the hell is this page about? Click this one and hopefully you'll have a better, you'll have a better insight as to what it is. Great. Well, for now, without overloading you on any other bits. Yep.
See the registration tab there?
Yep.
What's that for?
So
can I use that?
In Victoria, you have Sports TG.
Oh,
in other states, they use us. So it's all one and the same. There's no transferring of members. It's just in there. So for what you're doing, just ignore that part.
Okay. And communication? I saw there was an email.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, this one. So as long as the phone number or the email is valid, then you've got your various filters that you can fine-tune on.
Yep.
Then you can either choose to email or SMS to your members and attach things, and whether you want to use primary or secondary or both. You can put some tags in there if you want to address it to a family, or send everyone their username, then something like this. You can attach some files and then basically email that out. If you do want to do emails, it's free obviously, but SMS is through a third-party SMS provider, and we've got a help topic on what that is and how you go about setting it up, but it's 5 cents per SMS.
Okay. So if I send an email, who will it say the email is from?
Good question. So at the moment, this little yellow bar up the top saying at the moment it's going to come from no reply.
Okay.
Until you go and validate your email, and then it'll come from whoever that is.
Okay. And I can put any email address in there?
Yes, if you come up here to set up profile details, this is who it's going to come. This is the email that's going to get verified is this one.
The president.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you don't want it that way, then change that one, press submit, and then go through the verification process.
Okay.
Which is basically just to say, yes, I have received an email from you. I accept these terms. Let's go send some emails now.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
Cool.
Rightio.
Anything else I can, without getting, there's lots of other functions, but without kind of overloading for the start of the season, that's
No, that's good.
pretty well the crux of it.
Yep.
Great.
Rightio.
All right, Leah.
See how we go next week.
No worries. Well, we're here to help, so good luck, and let us know if you need a hand with anything.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Leah.
Right,
Bye.
see ya. Created this